And although the Milwaukee Bucks were shooting 40% from the field and 24% from three, they just had more chances. As you can see in the field goal attempts, 78 for Phoenix compared to 97. 97 of the Milwaukee Bucks. Hello and welcome to the Saturday, July 17th edition of the TV on Basketball podcast with your host, TV. Hope you're all having a fantastic day and thank you for clicking on to watch or listen to today's episode. Before we start, I do have to plug my other platforms. Remember to follow at TV on Basketball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for updates on the podcast and for other great content. If you're on YouTube, remember to like, share, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss a video. And for all my podcast listeners, remember to subscribe, leave a review if you're on Apple. And for my Spotify, Anchor, and Podbean listeners, just continue to show your support in any way possible. That would be highly, highly appreciated. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing probably the best game of the playoffs. No, best game of the finals for sure. Arguably the best game of the playoffs. There's definitely some good candidates, but we're going to talk about that crazy Game 4. We're going to be previewing Game 5, which will be happening tonight as of when this is being posted. I'm recording this on a Friday, but being posted on a Saturday. And we're going to preview tonight's game. And we're also going to be discussing two Team USA players dropping out and two replacements, as well as Damian Lillard trade rumors. Is it real? Is it not? We're going to get into that later as well. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really good episode. I told you my schedule's gonna be all over the place. I am posting this on a Saturday, but hopefully starting next week, things will get a lot easier, and hopefully, the schedule will be a lot more clean, and especially going into the offseason stuff, it should be a lot more consistent because these NBA finals, especially with these 2-day layovers, it's definitely kind of confusing. But I'm down for it, and I'm totally ready to talk some basketball. So, yeah. Thank you guys for all the support, as always, and let's have a great show. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into talking about Game 4, because Game 4 was absolutely insane. The Bucks win by playing extremely well in the fourth quarter to tie the series up at 2 apiece, winning 109 to 103. Literally, the story of this game was Phoenix always felt like they had a bigger lead than they had. The Phoenix Suns had maybe a lot of 6 to 12 point leads, but for some reason it really did feel like Phoenix had full control of this game. It really did, especially with the way that Devin Booker was just tearing apart the Milwaukee Bucks, especially in that third quarter, scoring 18 points, 7 for 7 shooting. He was just on another level yesterday, and it looked like with the way he was playing and getting just enough from the other Suns players, it looked like it was gonna happen. But man, the Bucks rallied back. They had themselves a Chris Middleton game, man. It finally showed up in the series. 40 points for him, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Him and Booker, especially in the fourth quarter, were going back and forth. And Booker himself had a 42-point game as well. So this was, I think, the third or fourth time in NBA Finals history where two opposing players both went up for 40 points in the same game. So this was an insane battle. And honestly, like I said earlier, this was definitely the best game of the finals for sure. Again, playoffs could be debatable. But what really went wrong here for the Phoenix Suns? Because like I said, they had the momentum. Their biggest lead in this game, it wasn't even 6 to 12, it was 9 points. But it always felt more than that. And the thing is, they had good offensive statistics in terms of field goals and such like that. 51% from the field. They had the same amount of threes as the Milwaukee Bucks. They out-rebound them in the defensive rebounds. What happened? Well, the Phoenix Suns, although they had a better shooting percentage, and in most of those games, especially if you're shooting over 50%, that's going to win you a game. But the difference is the amount of shots taken. And although the Milwaukee Bucks were shooting 40% from the field and 24% from three, they just had more chances. As you can see in the field goal attempts, 78 for Phoenix compared to 97 of the Milwaukee Bucks. That was just a big difference in this game. Especially because the Milwaukee Bucks, just like Game 3, were just dominating on the offensive glass. Sure, Phoenix did better on the defensive glass, but Milwaukee kept getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and they out rebounded them on the offensive glass 17-5. 17-5. And the thing about Milwaukee, especially like on the offensive end, they've been taking care of the basketball. They have been, and it wasn't just like the offensive rebounding that really led to more shot attempts for the Milwaukee Bucks. It was also the turnovers. 17 turnovers for the Phoenix Suns. A lot of careless turnovers, which is very uncharacteristic for a very good Phoenix Suns team compared to the Milwaukee Bucks' 5. The Suns may have shot a better percentage from the field, but when the Milwaukee Bucks have almost 20 more shots and 12 less turnovers, 12 more offensive rebounds, the Suns aren't winning that. The Suns are winning that, even though it looked like they were going to. But it caught up to them in the fourth quarter. Devin Booker was in foul trouble, and the Bucks took full advantage. Let's start with the Milwaukee Bucks, though. I do want to give them a bunch of credit because they stuck in it, even though it felt like they shouldn't even be there. And if you see the thumbnail of the video, if you see the title, I say this is a great series for all the wrong reasons. Because let's just go through each game to see. Actually, no, we'll talk about that later. Let's just talk about the game first. But let's give the Milwaukee Bucks their flowers, though, because Chris Middleton, absolutely fantastic in this one. Like I said, 40 points in this game, especially hitting like those big shots late, the ones that Chris Middleton always seems to hit in his big games, and also closing out the game with just hitting free throw after free throw. I mean, that's the one guy you want a free throw line, and he is doing exactly what he is asked to do, and he is converting. He is absolutely converting, and the thing about Chris Middleton, and we've seen it in series past, he's going to give you one or two of these magnificent games, and the inconsistencies just kill you. But he can win you a game. He can win you a game by just being himself when his shot is falling. And the Milwaukee Bucks, luckily, got that on, I think it was Wednesday night. They got that Wednesday night, and, shout out to them for that one. And then Giannis Antetokounmpo, although he did not have as dominant as his 40 and 10 games, but 26 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 11 for 19 shooting. This guy is still beasting. And it's not even like just you can see in the box score. That's the thing when you watch Giannis. You do not see all of his effect in the box score. Because when you look at the court, and I say this about Russell Westbrook all the time, he plays the hardest and it shows. Russell Westbrook, he plays the hardest, but he also takes terrible shots, but I can't say that he isn't trying, There's no reason why I could say Russell Westbrook is not trying on the basketball court. He always goes 110%. And Giannis is like that. But the thing is with Giannis, it's like he won't sometimes put up the stats, but you could just tell by looking at him that he is far and away the best player on that court. He really is. And we got to talk about that block. We 100% got to talk about that block because in game 1, I thought that was already one of the best. I think it was either game 1 or game 2. I think it was game 1. One of the best blocks of the series, of the playoffs, was Giannis Antetokounmpo coming from one side of the court. Mikal Bridges looked like he has an easy layup, and then Giannis came through with a LeBron-type chase-down block. Honestly, that was just insane. And I thought that was going to be probably one of the highlights of this series in terms of Giannis' defensive plays. But boy, was I wrong, because this guy had probably one of the best defensive plays I've seen in my lifetime. Because Devin Booker ran pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. Middleton couldn't get over the screen. I think it was either Middleton or Holiday, so Giannis was switched onto him. And that left DeAndre Ayton wide open for a lob. Sure, it wasn't a fantastic pass, but Devin Booker got to him. And of course, 9 times out of 10, DeAndre Ayton is yamming that down. But Giannis not only kind of stopped Devin Booker from getting an easy mid-range jumper, he was able to turn around and jump to prevent the DeAndre Ayton lob. There's not many players in the NBA, if I don't think any, or not many players at all in NBA history that can make that play. I can definitely agree with that. I probably can't name I can maybe name 5-6 players. There's not many people that could do what Giannis did there, defending the alley and the oop, defending the pick and the roll. Honestly, Giannis just plays with so much effort, and this is a guy coming off a hyperextended knee that looked like he was going to be out for the entire playoffs. But he comes back, he plays great. He wasn't as aggressive early as he was in previous games, but this guy still put in the effort on both the offensive and defensive end. I mean, this guy is just purely amazing. And with that going on and having Chris Middleton give you that with 14 points from Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, another bad shooting game, but Middleton stepped up. Pat Connaughton hitting 11 points off the bench. That really did help the Bucks. And Giannis, of course, was the defensive anchor, was the leader of that team. He just plays hardest and everyone just follows. And look, he's not afraid to go after this. I mean, I talked about it in the past. He's not afraid of the free throws. He's not afraid to get dunked on. And he talked about it post-game. I mean, he said, look, I thought I was going to get dunked on, but apparently I got there just in time, and he was able to just get his hand on that ball. And, I mean, it was a clean block. So, yeah, as much as you want, I mean, Middleton's was great. Give him all his flowers. But Giannis, man, consistently being the best player in the series. He has to be up there in terms of NBA finalists, in terms of the ladder. He has just been absolutely fantastic. But let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. And there's a lot of things we could talk about here. And I'm going to start with I'll start with the good. I'll start with the good because Devin Booker on Wednesday just took over. And these type of games for Booker, and this game from Booker in Game 4 really gave me the same vibe as Game 2 Giannis. And what I mean by that is he had a legendary finals performance. He was like I said, him and Milton, first I think fourth or fifth duo in NBA Finals history or oppositions in NBA Finals history to both score 40 points. Booker had a fantastic game. Same thing with Johnson Game 2 where he had 40 and 10. But no one really stepped up as a number 2 because he Chris Paul, I'm gonna get into later, did not play well at all. But Devin Booker was hitting so many tough shots, especially so many good shots, and a lot of them came in the third quarter. Like I said, 7 for 7 from the field. He just looked like he couldn't miss, but he just did not get enough help. I mean, he was just fantastic all series long. Apart from the fouls and just the fact, I mean, in many situations, if Booker scores over 40, the Suns are winning it, potentially in a blowout. But he just didn't get enough help, and plus his fouls really did hinder him from even playing better in the fourth quarter. But then, like I talk about, I mean, his teammates didn't really help him out because Devin Booker, 42 points in this game, amazing. But again, Jake Crowder's the second best player. I mean, that just ain't going to cut it. And one of those guys that, sadly, and I'm sad to say this, but he highly disappointed, was Chris Paul. Yes, Chris Paul highly disappointed. And this is someone that a lot of basketball fans, including myself, his argument for being in the top 5 point guards all time is not only is he someone that can get you a bucket and is one of the best true point guards in NBA history, this guy rarely makes mistakes. But just something in this series with him and these turnovers has really hurt him and has really hurt his team. And look, I'm not going to blame CP3 for this win entirely. Because like I said, the Suns as a whole turned the ball over triple the Bucks did. And they had 3 times less of the offensive rebounds. That's what ultimately killed them in this game. But CP3 did not help the cause. 10 points in this game. 7 assists. 5 turnovers. A key one late where he just slipped. 5 for 13 shooting, 4 rebounds. That's just unacceptable from someone who we expect to perform in these high-pressure situations. And he just didn't show up for Devin Booker. Kind of like how Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday just couldn't show up for Giannis in that Game 2 loss. I mean, Middleton scored 11 in that game. Drew Holiday was 17 points, but 7 for 21 shooting. That really was the biggest difference in that game. And, I mean, it's literally the Giannis game, but just reverse on the Sun side of things. And that was highly unfortunate for Devin Booker because he played absolutely fantastic. But CP3, these turnovers are so, just not in his character whatsoever. He just hasn't looked like he was going to a groove. And listening to the No Dunks podcast the next day, I mean, Trey Kirby of the No Dunks podcast put it perfectly. Chris Paul looks like he is playing to avoid losing rather than playing to win. That's what it really does feel like for Chris Paul right now. And this is his first horrible game of the playoffs. But these last 2 games, he just hasn't had that same poise with him. And hopefully coming back home that'll help him, but he did not help out the Suns' cause at all this game. But I didn't want to talk about this. I really didn't. But the Bucks needed to win this game too. Not only for themselves. Not only for themselves. Because if they went down 3-1, only one team in NBA history has done that. Coming down from 3-1 in the NBA Finals, and that was the 2016 Cavs. But the Bucks needed this win to save Adam Silver's butt and the refs' butt. Because the refs were absolutely horrible in this game. And look, I've had plenty of episodes in the playoffs where I was dissing the referees for long reviews, stupid calls, stupid reviews, and just taking so long to finish this game. This one, they just wanted to keep Devin Booker in the game because, man, Devin Booker was hacking some guys when he had 5 fouls. And the refs didn't call anything. Not a single thing. And the one play that everyone was looking to, and the one that was absolutely ridiculous, was when Drew Holiday was on the break, going up for a layup, Devin Booker basically bear hugging him, preventing the layup, and nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think the whole arena was shocked. The entirety of the NBA universe was shocked. And I'm like, no way that's a no call at all. And then they showed the replay, and I'm like, that's as much of a foul as I've seen one in terms of stopping it. But and look, Devin Booker had 5 fouls. But he had 2. I mean, that was the clear one. That should have fouled him out. But there were other 2 or 3 other ones that were definitely questionable that could have easily been called a foul. But the refs looked like they just wanted to keep him in this game. And if the Suns won, you know the amount of madness that would have caused. You know the amount of answers the refs had to answer. The amount of question. I honestly believe that that Adam Silver was gonna have some sort of statement the next day, because there would have been not riots, but just a hellstorm on social media. There would probably be a hellstorm, 100%, because those calls were absolutely ridiculous that weren't being called. Just absolutely ridiculous. And look, it was just a poorly officiated game. Booker should not have been in that game. That foul with 3 minutes 40 seconds left. I mean, if the Suns go on to win it, there's gonna be so much backlash from NBA fans and just everyone watching the game, because that was ridiculous. But luckily, the Bucks won to save themselves in the series, to save Adam Silver from, having to make a statement the next day, from having all this ridicule, and just saving the NBA referees from probably one of what could have been the worst, shot fires at the referees. Literally, it would have been horrible after the game if the Bucks lost. But the Bucks won. Phoenix lost. That saved the NBA. That saved the NBA, because that foul was just absolutely ridiculous, and Booker just shouldn't have been in that game. He shouldn't have. But the Bucks were able to pull it out. Great win for them. They move on to Game 5 to try and win a game on the road, which is going to be extremely tough, but that's definitely going to be something to look out for. Before I move on to my Game 5 preview, I do have to talk about kind of my statement earlier when I said this series is great for all the wrong reasons. And you see that in the title. This is what I mean by that. If you look at Game 1, the Suns win, but Giannis was coming back from his hyperextended knee. We knew that he was going to be 100%, and the Bucks kind of followed suit. I mean, no one was just able to step up. Sure, the Suns deserve to win that. Game 2, Giannis, all-time performance. On most nights, the Bucks should have won that game, but his other teammates were trash, and that's why they weren't able to win. Game 3, the Bucks win this game, but the Suns just put up an absolute stinker. Just an absolute stinker. And that's why you're like, oh my gosh, the Suns are surely to bounce back. There's no way they play that bad again. And look, early on in this game, it looked like it was going to be a great game. But the reffing problems killed this game. The rest of the Suns players, besides Devin Booker, failed to step up in this big game. It was just unfortunate, because it's a great series. I think it's a series that fans should watch. But there hasn't been a game yet, and we're 4 games in, where two teams we've seen them at their best. We haven't seen, we've seen a Booker Middleton matchup, but we haven't seen kind of a full performance from both teams, and which is highly, highly infuriating because we want to see that. We want to see like both teams hitting on all cylinders and it coming down to the wire, that type of game. And we haven't just had that yet. Even in the close games, like yesterday, that was a close game. The Suns just played like trash. Like every one of the Suns played like trash besides Devin Booker, so it was hard to watch. So this series is great. This series is fantastic, and I cannot wait for Game 5 because it's going to be extremely, extremely pivotal. But we just haven't had a complete performance from both teams yet. We haven't seen the best from both teams yet, which is unfortunate. But hopefully we get that in Game 5. Hopefully this still goes to 7. I'm really, really hoping for that, but I'm really hoping that we could see just kind of a complete performance from both. An NBA Finals classic. I mean, we've had some classic performances, but just a full, great game from both teams, we still haven't got that yet. And I'm really, really hoping in these next 2 to 3 games, we get one of those. But moving on to Game 5, like I said, it's going to be extremely, extremely pivotal. The Bucks have the momentum now. No one has lost on their home court just yet as they travel back to Phoenix and they face tonight. Let's go to the Suns. What are their keys to victory in this game? Number one, the thing I've been mentioning the most, just protect the ball. 17 turnovers to 5 is unacceptable, and in most cases, like yesterday, they're going to lose the game if they keep getting Milwaukee Bucks these opportunities. Even though they're shooting more efficiently, they need to protect the ball because that just gives Milwaukee more chance to stay in this game. And look, the offensive glass, I think that's extremely hard for the Suns, especially because besides DeAndre Ayton, there's no one else that can really help out on that front. But they need to just make it a bit harder for the Milwaukee Bucks. Not have the deficit like last game, 17 to 5. That is too much. If you can get to the 5 or 6 range, sure that you would like it to be kind of less than that, but at least that's manageable. Because 12 offensive rebounds the last game is just unacceptable. They need to just shorten that deficit. The fouls on the stars. That's another thing the Suns need to really focus on because Game 3, a big reason why the Bucks were able to dominate inside and win badly was because DeAndre Ayton got into foul trouble and no one could stop Giannis. Now, Ayton did a better job of that yesterday or on Wednesday, but Devin Booker did not. 5 fouls very early into the fourth quarter. He had to miss a good chunk of that until coming back with 6 or 5 minutes left. They need to just do a better job limiting their fouls on their stars. And last but not least, CP3 just has to play better, plain and simple. He did not play well at all in Game 3. I don't think he'll have that type of bad game again, but they need to have Chris Paul playing better. They need to 100% have Chris Paul playing better because DeAndre Ayton, him doing well is kind of a product of what Chris Paul does and what Devin Booker does. So when CP3 doesn't play well, it's going to be hard to see DeAndre Ayton playing very well, especially with the amount of big bodies Milwaukee has. It's extremely tough for him to make the type of impact that he has had throughout the entire playoffs with the amount of big bodies that Milwaukee has. Now we move on to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, what do they need to do? One, they need to get another amazing game from Giannis because although Chris Middleton played great this game, and hopefully Jrue Holiday game is coming, Giannis is the heart and soul of this team. He is the voice. He is the conductor. He is everything for this team. Not everything, but he is what makes this team go, and he needs to have another amazing performance in Game 5 in order for the Bucks to steal one on the road. Chris Middleton, I don't know if he'll come back. If it feels very Chris Middleton for him to come back down to earth and have maybe another 17, 18-point performance. I am prepared for that to maybe happen. So what does that mean? Someone has to step up. And Jrue Holiday has not had a fantastic game this series yet at all. He hasn't. So Jrue Holiday, yes, he's playing hard on the defensive end, but with Chris Middleton looking like he might come back down to earth in Game 5, he needs to be the one to step up, maybe chip in 24, 25 points, and hopefully Giannis can help also take them home in this one. And they got to stick to the game plan. They 100% got to stick to the game plan. They need to keep getting inside, keep putting pressure on the rim against the Phoenix Suns. That has been working in Games 3 and 4. I know it's going to be tough, especially with the Suns home cooking. No team has lost at home yet. And of course, when Giannis goes to the free throw line, you're going to hear the 1, 2, the counting of his free throw routine. That's going to happen, but the Milwaukee has to overcome that mentally in order for them to win this game. So yeah, both these teams, it's going to be really, really tough who gets to win this one. Hopefully it's a classic. I really hope it is. But if I had to pick a victor in this one, I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns in a close one. I think this will be the best game of the series. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on this game. Let's hope it goes well. Let's really hope it goes well. I hope it does. I really do hope it does. And we just need, I just think that the Phoenix Suns just need to just get better. Honestly, the biggest thing is to get a better performance out of Chris Paul, and I think he'll play good enough or great enough for them to get this victory. So my prediction for Game 5 is I have the Suns winning. But again, this series can go either way, especially with the momentum Milwaukee has. This series could definitely go either way. I'm very happy we have a series again, 2-2. Hopefully Game 5 is fantastic. But yeah, that is the NBA Finals Talk, Game 4, preview Game 5. Let me know down below what you guys think. Before we end this episode, we also have to discuss some other news and notes from around the league. One of the biggest news from this week is Bradley Beal and Kevin Love not going to be traveling with Team USA to Tokyo for the Olympics. Bradley Beal had to enter health and safety protocols, but then was pulled for the team, so it really does feel like he does. It's not confirmed, but with that type of reporting, it really does seem like he contracted COVID-19, so hopefully he's okay. Again, not confirmed, but with the way they just took him out the team, stuff like that, it really does feel like it. And Kevin Love, he said on Instagram in a statement saying, look, being on Team USA, you have to play at the highest level. You have to be at your best. And even he knows he hasn't been his best. He hasn't been playing at his best. So he said it was only fair to get someone else in there who could give them more than what Kevin Love is giving to him right now. So yeah, those two guys are no longer with the team. So that means the USA had to bring in 2 replacements. And those 2 replacements are the Denver Nuggets' JaVale McGee and the San Antonio Spurs' Keldan Johnson. Let's address the elephant in the room. JaVale McGee going to Tokyo for the Olympics is something I never would have expected in my lifetime, but here we are. JaVale McGee is going to the Olympics. But look, one of the biggest issues with Team USA, and especially in these exhibition games, because they're 1-2 right now in exhibition play before the Olympics, is their defense and their interior presence. Because Bam is there, but no other big man is really there to help out Bam. JaVale, on the other end, he could provide that. Now, would they wish it would be someone better? Yes. But JaVale McGee, I don't know, man. At least I could give that to you. It's just weird that JaVale McGee is on an Olympic team in general, but here we are. JaVale McGee is in the Olympics. Congratulations to him, but at least it addresses a need. It 100% addresses a need for Team USA, and I think he's actually going to play some key minutes for them. So, congrats to JaVale McGee for getting in. I was not expecting this, but congrats to JaVale McGee. The other person that I mentioned was Keldan Johnson, and he's at the San Antonio Spurs. In my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the league. He only played his 2nd season, going into his 3rd season. Very, very good player. Very, very good. He has a lot of potential. Again, really weird for them to pick a 3rd-year guy. But of course, Popovich knows how he plays, and if Popovich shows him out, I mean, he knows that he can give something that some spark to this Team USA team. So, yeah, those are the 2 replacements. Hopefully, it goes well. The Olympics start next week, right after next weekend after the NBA Finals. So, yeah, I mean, they're still waiting on Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Devin Booker to come by. So, I guess that's enough to kind of alleviate for the Bradley Beal thing, but. Congratulations to Keldan Johnson. Congratulations to JaVale McGee for making it to Team USA. Another report that came through this weekend was the Damian Lillard saying that in the next there was a report not coming from Shams or Woj saying that Damian Lillard was going to announce a trade request in the coming days. This was reported early Thursday morning, but the thing was, a few hours later, Dame literally came out and talked about saying, look, this source did not come from me. I have not discussed a trade request. I am not even thinking of a trade request. Do not believe anything what they say on the internet. And look, in terms of reporting, I mean, whether this is real or not, we won't ever know. Of course, if these reports came out, I think Dame would have rejected them no matter what, because he is not the type of guy to be just going out like that. But I said earlier, it wasn't from Woj or Shams, and if you guys are fans of soccer, fans of football, wherever you're from, like the gate, like the not the actual American football, but like European football, then they're like the rule that I've heard from my like soccer friends is that if the news, transfer news, doesn't come from someone named Fabrizio Romano, it's unlikely that's going to happen because Fabrizio Romano is the guy who basically just confirms that deals are happening. And I think in the NBA, our Fabrizio Romano is Woj Shams. I'm not saying that any of the other people are not valid. They don't do the reporting. They don't do the research. But I kind of find it hard pressed that Woj and Shams aren't all over the story too. And I think that if they were going to report on this, they want to be like more and more sure. Obviously, if someone has this information, they're going to go out with it. Obviously, it's a headline. But if it isn't coming from Woj and Shams for me, I'm going to be iffy. I'm going to be 100% iffy. I mean, I have those two guys. Those are my two guys I have on Twitter notifs just in case some crazy news goes down. But I don't know. I mean, Dame, of course, Dame, like I said, he's going to deny it. But I'm always iffy if the reports aren't from Woj, aren't from Shams. So take with that as you will. You can believe other reports as you want. I mean, obviously, there's people like Mark J. Spears. There's so a lot of great other reporters. Chris Haynes as well as someone as two reports. But and I think those are kind of my next tier of news reporters. But Woj and Shams for me are the biggest guys for this news. And if it isn't really coming from them, I'm gonna have some doubt. I'm 100% gonna have some doubt. And Dame coming out with it right away, maybe is saying something, but also it's gonna be definitely be different. I mean, this one's from Henry Abbott. And I'm not saying that Henry Abbott is not a well-respected reporter, but come on now, we gotta like just know some sources are more reliable others, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, those are the other news and notes. Let me know down below what you guys think about the NBA playoffs, NBA finals, whatever. Let me know down below your thoughts. But I think this is where we're gonna end today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to show love on all the podcast channels. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube. And remember to follow @TV on Basketball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for some awesome content. I should be back early next week to discuss some more NBA Finals games. If I don't review Game 5 right away or Game 6 and the series ends, I'm just going to do a episode to conclude the finals and talk about that. But yeah, that's going to happen next week. Hopefully after the NBA Finals too, I'm going to have a more consistent schedule, so I'll let you guys know. Of course, I'm going to do my NBA mock draft, my free agency predictions. All that good stuff is coming in the offseason, so please be on the lookout for that in the future. But yeah, the NBA Finals is underway. Best of 3 series now. It should be really, really good. Again, thank you guys for all the support on the podcast and the YouTube. Just hit 40 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, I'm going to bring out a lot of more content for you in the future, especially with some in the off season. There are a lot of ideas I have in mind. But yeah, I think this is where we're going to end it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day. This is CB signing out. Take it easy, guys. Peace.